The building of this other world entails resolving the external debt of our countries. This debt has already been paid, in some countries, more than 3 or 4 times. Human beings cannot be substituted. They don't have a price. That's why we dream. We dream of a new world. This dream is the dream of millions of human beings the whole world over. Let us dream then by putting up a good fight. Long live the organization of our peoples, in the countryside and in the city. Long live the worldwide struggle for popular sovereignty against the debt.
We come together, nations and peoples, with our one voice for love and freedom. We come together to show our power and our solidarity. A different world is possible. Otro mundo es posible. Otro mundo es posible.
O problema da dívida.
The problem of the debt has been treated as an economic problem, when in truth the problem of the debt is the economic problem of our countries. What is at issue is the type of development that was imposed on our countries as a result of the external debt. As long as we have an economy whose driving force is consumerism, we will never be able to free ourselves from external debt, because we can either pay it or not pay it. In the next cycle, we will again be indebted, because we spend our whole time importing new technology rather than using well what we have already incorporated. We get into debt in order to buy technology to modernize the consumption patterns of the elites of our countries.
May I call on Professor Adolfo Perez Esquivel from Argentina, Yvonne Yanes from Ecuador, Dr. Sekou Diarra from Mali, Professor Dennis Brutus from South Africa, Shelley Emmeline Rao from Fiji, Pedro Ross from Cuba, Marie-France Joaquin from Haiti, Zamba Tembile from Mali, and finally Deputy Rosemary Nyerere from Tanzania.
We do not have any defendants here. They are not here. But that is not a reason for us not to do what we want to do. Because primarily and in the first instance, we are providing for the first time in the history of the world a forum and an environment which is conducive for witnesses to come and talk to us and to you about the pain and suffering that they receive as a result of this monster called the debt.
I understand that this International Peoples Tribunal is the first of its kind. This tribunal is an expression of the people's struggle for justice, freedom, and democracy, not only here in Brazil, but in Asia, in Africa, and the rest of America. Let it not be said by our own enemies, by the powerful, that we are out for revenge.
We have to put on trial the head of governments in the north and head of governments in the south who collaborate with the north. I think that the tribunal is a step forward, but it cannot have power without the power of the people.
What we intend with this accusation is already known by most of us here. The biggest criminals to be condemned by worldwide public opinion and before a court of law are those responsible for the external debt.
The indictment begins by stressing the point of the external debt. Whatever its amount, up to $2 billion, taking up sizable amounts not only of exports but of internal economies and GNPs. What it means is that the actual labor of peoples is being robbed from them and sent outside. Net, point two, net transfers from south to north, documented, 1988, 41 countries, 1.680 billion, $1.6 billion going out. The indictment has the chapters on quantitative, but this as an ethical and a political tribunal stresses the qualitative aspect. We too are impressed less with numbers than with lives. What does this mean in terms of bloodletting on account of the external debt and the recognition of who is on the other side, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the US, the G7.
In conclusion, and having seen the evidence accumulated in these proceedings, the prosecution asks that the jury and the tribunal declare the debt to be extinguished for being illegitimate and illegal, for having been fully repaid already through the collection of usurious interest and capital payments, and on the basis of the historical, social and ecological debt which the rich countries owe to the peoples of the Third World. Thank you very much.
The British invaded the country that is now Zimbabwe and formed a private company that looted the resources. They forced the black people out of their land and they introduced the laws and constitutions that protected their loot. So the narration of this historical debt is equivalent to the illegitimacy of the colonial debt that I demand for unconditional cancellation. And I'm here because I have faith in the power of this people's court to overturn the injustices that have been perpetrated on innocent people.
There was a massive capital flight from Nigeria. About $50 billion were stolen from Nigeria, and they are located in the Western banks. Banks from Citibank in New York, banks in Switzerland, and all this money located in these countries belong to the poor people of Nigeria.
Dans mon pays se trouve un service, le service des maladies infectieuses, qui s'est trouvé à un moment totalement fermé, malgré que notre pays occupe aujourd'hui la première place en Afrique de l'Ouest par rapport au VIH-Sida. Comme je le disais, le système de santé dans mon pays est sérieusement dégradé du fait donc de cette dette que le pays est obligé de payer régulièrement.
If we take into account the amount of golden money they took from us, the land we lost and their companies continue to occupy, it is clear There is no debt to be paid. It is they who owe us.
I speak as a mother.
Eu falo como uma mãe.
On behalf of the Filipino women.
Em nome das mulheres da Filipina e de nossas crianças.
The father of those people.
E todas as pessoas.
We come together, nations and peoples, with our one voice for love and freedom. We come together to show our power in our solidarity. A different world is possible.
The World Bank imposed the same conditions
It was needed.
extended to the market.
No la podemos reconocer en absoluto.
We are the creditors. They owe us life. They owe us health, education, housing. Economic power imposes its will on our people, and it's killing us through hunger. We have to say no. We owe nothing, we pay nothing. The accused banks and transnational corporations, governments of the North, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and other international financial institutions and their collaborators of the South are authors, co-authors, accomplices, and concealers of the following crimes: draining in a parasitic manner the natural patrimony of the South, upholding and favoring unequal terms of trade, charging usurious interest rates, carrying out fraudulent operations, supporting dictatorial or criminal regimes, imposing economic integration programs, continuing to collect a debt that has already been paid, breaking international law, its norms and legal instruments, breaking the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The jury thereby requests the tribunal to dictate a sentence condemning those accused for the commissioning of all or some of the crimes committed and indicated in this verdict. It also requests that the external debt be declared non-existent and thereby extinct for being odious, infamous, illegal, usurious, unjust, fraudulent, and illegitimate, and for provoking the loss of national sovereignty and the quality of life of the majority of the population of the South. Finally, the jury exhorts the tribunal to accept the following recommendations.
Nations and people singing one song of love and freedom. We come together, sharing one dream. No language of barrier, no distance so clear. Don't go, won't be, don't go, won't be. come together, nations and peoples, with our one voice for love and freedom. We come together to show our power and our solidarity. A different world is possible. Oh,